brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Welcome into the locker room, the most sacred of spaces in sports. Talking you through the behind-the-scenes conversations that happen behind closed doors with former Nebraska football tight end Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor Brewington, the 6-year senior tight end, finding his way into the end zone.
And former South Dakota State running back and Nebraska football assistant Mikey Daniel.
Hand off to Daniel inside the 2 to the 1, and he powers his way into the end zone for a South Dakota State touchdown.
This is The Locker Room, brought to you by Ep Foundation Repair. Here are your hosts, Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel.
All right, yes, welcome into the locker room here on a Tuesday afternoon. Mikey is out today, but as always, we have Chancellor in the building. Chancellor, how are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. I hope everyone out there is having a blessed day. And if it's not blessed, bless it yourself. I hope everyone's having a good Tuesday. Here on the locker room, we provide an insight, an exclusive look into what a player's mind is throughout the week. And we like to start off each show going through the week, going through what the players are thinking, feeling inside their body, the schedule, and things like that. So Tuesday is an interesting day for college football players across the nation. It's widely known as the most physical and ferocious day of the week. So the theory and the philosophy for Tuesday practices are, we're going to make this so hard. We're going to make this so hard for our players so that the game on Saturday is easier. So what happens on Tuesday is that you are in full pads. You are in full pads. Not only, you're out there practicing on full pads, but you're hitting. You're hitting. And that's one thing that's not fun sometimes, right? But it's necessary. So when you see Nebraska tackling well, which they did really good job, Colorado, keeping guys in front of them, taking guys to the ground and swarming bodies to the ball, that starts on Tuesday. That starts in fall camp, but that starts on Tuesday throughout the week. So that's a big thing. That's a big thing. So Tuesday, I like to say, Monday is a scouting report day. You kind of go over some wrinkles, some things that we did wrong. And I'm sure, and I will get into what I think my critiques on Saturday. I think there was a lot of critiques. I think there was more critiques than people probably think, which gives me even more excitement because I'm like, man, like this team still has a lot of ways to go offensive wise. Still has a ways to go, right? And we're still putting up 28 points. So the one thing for Tuesday is that you're going to get a big old install packet. I'm talking, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's a big old install packet. And usually, we're playing Northern Illinois. So we're looking Northern Illinois, right?
Northern Iowa,
my bad. I'm like something in there didn't sound right. But no, you're playing Northern Iowa. So you're looking at Northern Iowa, what they run on defense, right? Let's just be simple. Cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4. What's their base coverage? Are they 4 down, 3 down? Do they run a 3-3-5 like Nebraska? What type of defense do they run? Second, position by position, you're going to scout out the other, whether it's receivers. For receivers, look at DBs. Tight ends, look at linebackers and D-line. O-line looks at D-line and linebackers. Quarterback, Dylan Raiola and Heinrich and all them boys have the fun part. They get to look at the whole defense. They don't get to just hone in on one thing. They have to be the smartest people on the field at all times, second to the center. So that being said, you're going to get this thick packet. And with this packet, it's meant to be big on Tuesday. So you're going to run through a lot of plays Tuesday, running through a lot of plays, a lot of hitting drills, a lot of if teams tackle, it's coach's preference. If you tackle, you're going to tackle on Tuesday. So the body takes the worst beating on Tuesday. And Wednesday it slows down, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. The thing about Tuesday for me as a player was I just wanted to play as fast as possible and be really physical and just get it out the way. Like I didn't want to be the first time I really hit someone throughout the week be on Saturday. The first chance I got on Tuesday, hit someone and get acclimated to that. And the thing about Tuesday is, you kind of see where your body's at too. You see, you're 2 games in right now. So there shouldn't be much wear and tear. There shouldn't be much wear and tear on the body. As far as, injury wise, more so you get to see just where you are mentally, I would say, on Tuesday, because, it's, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. practice, whatever you want to do. So yeah, that's where you are Tuesday. And yeah, moving forward, I saw a quote by Marcus Satterfield. Obviously Tuesday after practice, I get to talk to the media and all that good stuff. And he was specifically talking about the penalties on offense late in the game, mainly in the second half. And this is what he had to say. He said, there were penalties. We have to coach the technique better. We have to demand the technique better. That can't happen. That was critical. It starts with us as coaches. When I hear this, I'm like, okay, that's accountability first, but it also is a call to action, right? So the call to action starts, like you said, with the coaches. And so my whole thing is I was just confused on, and I'm trying not to be critical. I'm trying not to be critical because I understand how it is out there in the playing field. Like sometimes some guys get coached on something and they don't do it, right? But some guys do what they're taught, and sometimes they're not taught anything, right? So getting in that fine line, there's a fine line between drilling something and over drilling it, and not drilling it at all. So I would like to see personally, more consistency on the perimeter. And I think that starts in Indy. That starts in individual. And it's gonna be interesting because I think there's a big jump that this receiver room needs to take. If they don't take it, I want to see them catch more balls. I want to see them be more explosive, right? The way that opens up is being physical in the run game. And some people are like, what are you talking about? I'm telling you that the ball finds you when you're doing the right things when you don't have the ball. It's kind of like like the law of attraction almost. Like when you're doing the right things, blocking downfield, not missing assignments, running routes full speed backside, making sure other guys get open, getting in the right windows, getting aligned the right way, full speed motions, full speed backside, running and getting safeties, cross field, cutting off guys, digging out these, play side safeties, digging them out in the run game. Like when you go and do those things as a receiver, what ends up happening, it translates and it causes the defense to play different. It causes them to account for your physicality. It causes them to account for you going and blocking them and cracking them and all this different stuff. They think about that they're humans too. So they think about these things. So one thing I would challenge this receiver room, if I'm a coach or if I'm a leader on this team, especially a leader on this offense, particularly one the O lineman, I would love to see like an O lineman get in this receiver room and say, hey, this is what is required for this offense to be good. You have to block downfield. And it's not this like half blank, half, what I'm trying to say, this like, 50%, effort thing. No, it's my guy will not make the play. I mean, we used to have when I was playing, we used to have like a board that if our guy made the play, we had to like put a tally down and there was a punishment. Like, it could be outside zone and, it's backside. I'm backside. The run's going away from me. But this corner, if my job is this corner can't make the play, he can't make the play. No matter, he breaks it 80 yards downfield and all of a sudden I got to run 80 yards to make sure my guy doesn't make the play. That's the whole concept of it. So not only making sure our guy doesn't make the play, but getting the right technique, because there was a lot of times where, we like to run this, like Nebraska likes to run this little drag concept, and have the receivers to the field block for it, right? And that's great. That's great. But what happens is our receivers out there aren't anticipating the guy coming, right? So they go inside trying to block a guy that's about to go outside. So anytime you try to do that, there's going to be a holding call right away. One thing I would like to see is that's just coaching right there, right? And Satterfield said that. Satterfield hinted that that's on them. And yeah, so I mean there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that we could talk about. One thing I want to get your take on, Bach. I want to get your take on Tommy Hill and just the national coverage that he's not getting And I feel like we should have been talking about him last year going into the season. And now, I mean, finally we see, 83.5 coverage grade versus Colorado, first among Big Ten DBs in week 2. Why are we not hearing about Tommy Hill? And then secondly, why are we not, I feel like nationally, we're not hearing about this defense enough. What is your take on that?
Yeah, well, I think you got to play the big games in big moments, and that's what Nebraska finally did here against Colorado. There are opportunities to go bowling and stuff like that last year, and playing Wisconsin on NBC, and so there were some opportunities there, but it wasn't as big as this one. This one, had 6 million viewers, and so I think it's just a lot of it, and we could thank Colorado for that. As much as you want to make fun of their program or knock them for not being a good football team quite yet, is they do draw eyeballs in Nebraska. That's what I felt really good about all those guys, because, whether he was making a sack or for Tommy Hill getting the pick six, it's like, when you're making a play like this is going on your highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
This is one that they're going to show, just because of where Shador, or if you're making a play on Travis Hunter, where those guys are going to be picked in the draft, that this is going to be elevated to the top. So I think Nebraska is going to start to get that credit. Obviously, you got to keep it up. And for Tommy Hill, I was so excited to see him get that pick six and to play the way that he did, because I've been saying it all off season, and so I know he's known it just as much. That's your opportunity. This is out of everybody on the schedule, and USC's. I mean, there's going to be some more things that he can put on tape, but the big matchup for him this year was Travis Hunter, was Shador Sanders. As far as one game that can propel his stock and maybe get more people talking, and he completely took advantage of it.
Yeah, for sure. One guy I want to highlight right now is Ja'Cory Barney Jr. He has an interesting role in this offense to start off with, right? And so we have to take into account he's a freshman. Okay, so when people say, "I want to see him on the field every play," do we know, or do the coaches trust him to be in every play? And what I mean by that, not like trust him as a person. I'm just saying trust him. Does he know the full playbook, right? Because the jump from high school to college, some say is the biggest jump there is. Some say the jump from college to the pros is a lot smaller, just because if you're good in college, you'll be good at that level, right? Not necessarily. There's a lot of more pretext context that goes into that. But I'm just saying specifically from high school. I remember in high school for me, man, I didn't even have a playbook. I didn't have a playbook in high school. All we had was kind of just just like the iPad, and you kind of had like a few plays on there, but it was kind of just like hearsay stuff. Like, oh yeah, this is what we do. This is what we, whatever. Right. And so you get into college, you get like, 500, probably not 500, about 350, 300 plays. Right. And all of a sudden you got to make it work, and you have to do these things. So not only is that jump big, he has to make this jump at the largest stage, talking about a Power 5 program, Big Ten. When I see Ja'Cory Barney Jr. When I see Ja'Cory, I see an explosive athlete that needs to get on the field. I'm blanking. Florida back in the day had I know this is a crazy comparison, but Florida back in the day with Tim Tebow, he had
Percy Harvin?
Percy Harvin.
Yeah.
And so they did I'm not comparing Ja'Cory. I know that's a crazy comparison, right? But I'm just saying, if you want to emulate some of the stuff that they were doing, look at some of the stuff, the way they were using Percy Harvin, because speed-wise, it looks like, he's probably one of our faster guys. Looks like he plays fast. Not only is fast, but plays fast. There's a complete difference. He's twitchy. He's explosive. Looks like he's comfortable playing out there. So he already checks off those boxes. So when you got a guy who checks off those boxes, it's like, okay, how are we going to get him involved? What I would like to see personally, I would like to see some sets where, him and Lloyd are on the field together. I would like to see some sets where him, Lloyd, and Carter Nelson are on the field together. I would like to see some sets where him, he's at outside, he motions into slot, or he starts in the backfield, some different things, right? I would like to see him more involved. Why? It creates a problem. When you and I'll continue to say this, Buck, anytime you put out something on the tape, on film, the defense you're about to play, they have to study and practice for it. So I was talking about putting Heinrich out there, right? If you put, and I wish they would have done this. If you put, do it this game, do it this next game, right? Because then Illinois has to prepare for it. But if you put Heinrich in the backfield, don't even pass it to him, or don't even give him the ball, right? Just put him in the backfield, run inside zone, have him, run an arrow or something, right? If you put that on film, guess what the defense has to do next week? They got to spend at least 15 minutes going through that, right? And so it's just it's this chess game. Everyone talks about, playing chess, not checker. That's a chess move. Anytime you put Heinrich on the field, that's a chess move. Putting Jakari in the backfield, that's a chess move. Because guess what? The defense has to account for it. And I like what they're doing with Bonner. I would like to maybe switch up some of the things. I would like to maybe put Bonner in that tight end sometimes, right? I like to see Bonner, maybe move outside and some things, but we'll get back to that. You listening to the Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington. Mikey Daniels is not here today. So appreciate y'all.
.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: isolated showers and storms possible this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mostly sunny skies, and it will be breezy with the high around 93. Tonight, partly cloudy with the low around 62. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies, and it will be breezy with the high around 91. I'm meteorologist Kyle Puckett for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tanner's Bar and Grill is the best place in Lincoln for a casual get-together, best place to watch a game, and the best for pre- and post-game. Catch college and NFL football as well as the volleyball action this season at Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. What's better than wings, cold beer, and a Husker win? Enjoy great food and drink specials every day and tons of TVs to catch all the action. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Yankee Hill.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Oh, Kansas.
Here we go. Second half today.
You just don't stop giving, do you?
Green flag, we're underway.
The closest finish in NASCAR Cup Series history.
What a finish, boys.
Close to downtown, amazing campgrounds. 4 NASCAR races in one weekend, and it's the playoffs.
God damn drive.
Now you're just showing off. But we're not mad. In fact, we're looking forward to it. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway, September 27th through the 29th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Recent gator sightings in Nebraska rivers have biologists perplexed.
Alert! Take advantage of Nebraska's gator infestation and get yours at Acres Fall Gator Sale. We've got 0 interest financing on all John Deere new units, and every used gator is priced to sell. Choose from a variety of models and trim packages. All accessories and attachments are discounted too. For work or play, Acres has the gator for you. Go to acres.com for more details.
A fall aeration by Judson Irrigation will help maintain your lawn by maximizing the effectiveness of your watering and fertilization. Judson will flag the locations of your sprinkler heads, followed by a deep core aeration to give your lawn the breath of fresh air it needs. Schedule your aeration today. Your lawn will love you for it.
Let us aerate today to ensure a healthy head start for your lawn next spring. Go to judsonirrigation.com or call Judson Bylene 402-420-6277.
Heartland International in Lincoln reminds us people today are facing more hardships than ever. It's becoming all too common to hear someone's become so desperate they've taken their own life. People almost always warn those close to them that desperation is near. Be a shoulder to lean on and insist that they seek professional help. This message from Dennis and Penny Nunn at Heartland International in Lincoln, marketing quality products since 1974. Visit heartlandinternational.com. We're stronger when we help one another.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting book. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and we are out of the gate for September with a very special GMC sales offer. We must move out all new GMC truck inventory fast. So right now at Koppel, we are offering true GM supplier pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard right. True GM supplier pricing on all GMC Sierras. That's over $12,000 off on select models. That's GM supplier pricing, $12,000 off on Sierras. Do not wait. Stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Daniel. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here in the locker room. I am Jake Balkovin, along with Chancellor Brewington. Michael Daniel out today, but Chancellor did a great job of breaking down some of the things that Nebraska is going through here on a Tuesday, some of the players, and then unlocking some of the weapons that Nebraska has shown on offense, to include Ja'Cory Barney. Chancellor, where are you going with this next segment here?
Yeah, so I want to take a really deep, in-depth look at this Colorado versus Nebraska game from the statistics side, and I think a lot of people say stats don't tell a story, and they don't tell the story, but they tell some of it. Or they say stats don't tell the full story, but they tell some of it. So I just want to go through some of the stats that are glaring to me, and think holes that the stats tell that the film confirm. So anytime you look at stats, you want to have film to confirm if it's true or not. Because I see, Dylan Rawler right here, 23 for 30. Oh yeah, that's amazing, right? But that's even, if you look at the film, it confirms it, right? It even confirms that he not only was 23 for 30, but there was a few throwaways as well, and they weren't his fault. So he's, and I think Coach Rule said this, that he's playing at a level that, is above the offense, and the offense needs to pick it up to get to Dylan's level. And I totally agree with that. Looking at the past 2 days, I mean, his percentage is sitting around 74%, right? As a true freshman. I mean, you're an elite quarterback if you're playing, anywhere between, 65 and 65% is elite, right? Now you're sitting around, 76, right? 185 yards. But, to add more context into that, there was a lot of opportunities that were missed. When you look at the film, guys running the wrong route, not getting to the right depth, guys just not separating versus man-to-man, a lot of man-to-man, a lot of opportunities. Guys just weren't separating. When you go down to Dante Dowdale, running, got 17 carries, 74 yards, average 4.3. First of all, shout out Coach EJ, the running back coach, for developing these guys. Because I'm looking at Dante Dowdale, and I'm looking at Oregon, right? This past weekend, Oregon could run the ball for nothing. And they've struggled against Idaho and Boise State, not getting into Big Ten play. And I know they have a schedule in front of them where they're going to have to figure out how to run the ball. So when I'm looking at Dowdale, I'm like, man, Oregon would probably be loving to have this guy right here. But when I look at the 17 for 74, I look at it a few ways. I feel like this could have been, he could have got, 14 for, let's go. I'll probably say like 13 for like 115. I think that's what his stat line should have been. Because I think after the first drive, you acknowledge that he's hot. You acknowledge that he has the hot hand. You acknowledge that he came to play. And by acknowledging that, you give him the ball more and you get him into the same concepts. We're hitting counter early, counter. We're hitting duo early. And those are, for the people listening, those are both gap schemes. And so you have zone and gap schemes. It looked like the gap schemes were working against Colorado. They shifted to too high, and it caused the front to do some things as well. But just identifying what we want to get to. And I feel like the second half, adjustments on the offensive side kind of came late, and if any, right? We saw, Coach Rule talked about it. Shiloh Sanders comes out. They go to kind of this too high shell. What I mean by too high shell is simply too high safeties, right? That's all I mean by anytime I say too high shell, that just means too high safeties. And so it caused, better run fits as opposed to, being in a one high shell. But yeah, going back to Dante Dale, I thought they could have put him in more positions for him to go above 100 and allow Emmett to get some more carries and Gabe Irvin to get some more carries, because, you have a running back to go for 100. I mean, it opens up everything else. Looking at Emmett, it will be interesting how they use Emmett and Gabe moving forward. We saw, they like to run Gabe out of the I formation. We get it, 12, 13 personnel, whatever you want to call it. 22 personnel if you count the fullback as a running back or a tight end, whatever you want to call it. They like that Gabe in this, power set where they're kicking guys out. We saw him score 2 touchdowns in UTEP in that same formation, same play. They ran the same thing versus Colorado. So maybe expanding Gabe's role just a little bit. Maybe second and short, we like Gabe. Maybe, third and short, we like Gabe. Not only goal line situations, maybe 4-minute drive, we like Gabe. Maybe we have a drive where it's dedicated to a real downhill runs, after a defense gets a stop or something. That's interesting. Okay, defense gets a stop or defense gets a turnover. We're going to go pound the rock with Gabe, to close this half out or close this quarter out, identifying a role there. You go to Ramir. Ramir's day was interesting. If I'm Ramir, I'm like, dang, I should have ran for, 80-yard run or, that's probably, what do you think, Bach? 70, 75, 80-yard run?
A big run.
Yeah, I mean, 70 yards, add that in. He went 9 for 33. You add that in, you go 10 for, 103 right there, right? Or 10 for, 98, whatever it is, right? You see Ramir. If you watch the game, you're like, man, Ramir had a day, right? A lot of things got called back, though. When I see Ramir, I see probably the most consistent back we have in 3 areas: pass catching, run blocking, and obviously running the football. One thing about Ramir is he's a very smart athlete. He's a very smart football player. He knows how to put his body in certain situations. Obviously, coming back off an injury, some people weren't anticipating Ramir to be, one of the top 2 guys, but as me and Mikey were talking about, one of these backs is going to rise to the top. And it looked like Dante was the guy this week. To confirm it, guess what we need? We need at least 2 or 3 games to confirm it. So this week against Northern Iowa, we'll be able to confirm, okay, Dante's our guy, right? Or Ramir looks like our guy. Or, Emmett had a good day. And then we're back to square one, right? So it will be interesting to see what this run back room, but these are the type of problems you want to have. You don't want to have the problems you don't want to have is this problem. Man, we don't got nobody. Right? Think about it like, I don't know Nebraska's history that much because I only played here 2 years. And so my first year here was 2021. And I'm thinking about the backs that we had. We would have loved to have the depth, but also the development in these backs, right? So Nebraska, I know people want the Amir Abdullahs, right? Mm-hmm. But if you got, and I'm not saying we wouldn't take that. I'm just saying if you got a guy like Dante Dowdale, Emmett Johnson, Ramir Johnson, and Gabe Irvin, 4 guys that can give you first team reps, meaning they're out there with the first D. It's not like, we're going to have Gabe go out there with our second offense when we're up 30. No, he would get reps with the first team. When you got running backs like that, that creates issues. That creates problems. Because then, like we talked about, the defense then has to do what? The opposing defense. They have to study all these guys. They have to understand, okay, Dowdale going to run you over. He ran over Shiloh. Emmett's a little bit more shifty. You got to, you might got to just not take your shot. He's going to try to juke you out in the hole. Ramir is a burner. He's going to run by you. Gabe, he's downhill. He's more like Dante, but Dante has, more elusiveness. So, like, you just have a scouting report for all these guys. And one thing I love to see was Dylan recognized it was man. I believe it was the first drive of the game. It was 3rd and 10. Receivers didn't get open versus man. And the one thing man leaves open is a quarterback scramble. Dylan, scanning the hole, goes through his progressions, sees this man, and he scrambles, gets the first down. That was my number one question mark going into the week. Not number one. It was one of them. I had a lot of question marks. But like, okay, is he going to identify, holes where he could scramble and make something happen with his feet? I know he's not the fastest. We get it, whatever. I'm not expecting him to be Lamar or, Cam Newton out there, but can he scramble? He's more capable. He's capable as an athlete to scramble and get a 10-yard first down. I mean, he's a Division I college football player. He can do that, right? So it was interesting, and I loved it. I loved that Dylan was able to do that. Moving down to the receiving room, not a big day. Really not a big day. I mean, Ja'Cory Barney had 6 receptions. If you add more context to those, they weren't really receptions, quote unquote, all of them. If you do like a jet sweep and you toss the ball up to him, it counts as a pass. So, that hiked up his receiving yards, of course. But this is what I'm talking about. He's our probably most explosive guy. Him and Lloyd, of course. And I thought Lloyd had a decent day. I mean, you catch that one ball. It's tough with this deep of a receiver. We got Borgshire, Barney, Banks, Lloyd, Nair. Even Ramir had a good day in the receiving room. You got all these guys to add in these pieces. The way you add them is you have specific roles, and it's the same as the running backs. And what I'm seeing is the philosophy with the defense and the philosophy with the offense are kind of the same right now. And what I mean by that is the defense. If you watch the defense, they have at least 25 guys come in the game, right? Talking about D-line, they got a 3-deep D-line. I mean, we saw 3 groups of D-linemen get in the game, right? Linebackers, they have 2 deep. DBs, there's a couple situations where they threw some DBs in there, right? But for the most part, that front 7 rotates a lot, right? They get a lot of bodies in there. So you're sitting around, like 20 guys. We look at the receiver room on offense, a lot of guys are rotating. Back room, a lot of guys are rotating. Tight end room, a lot of guys are rotating. Obviously, you're not going to switch up your quarterback or your O-line, but a lot of guys are rotating. What I'm saying is if the offense can emulate what the defense is doing role-wise, you have roles. James Williams, 3rd down, he's going to get the quarterback. Ty Robinson, Nash, they're going to clog up the middle. That's their role. Makai, he's going to be the most physical guy on the field and wreak havoc. Tommy Hill, he got to take away the best player, right? They have roles on the defense, right? If we can establish roles on the offense, throwing in this many guys, right? I mentioned all these guys getting receiving yards. If we can identify roles with the offense, it makes the offensive players play more confident. Why? Because they know exactly what they're out there to do, right? If I'm Luke Lindenmeyer, right, guy that not a lot of people talk about, if I'm there to seal off the C gap and make sure I get movement so the pulling guard doesn't have to swab my guy, right? Free shout out. That was what I saw on film. Anyways, literally, if that's my job, okay, every time I'm in, I know what I'm supposed to do, right? Okay, my role expands this week, Bach. Okay, I get a pass. Okay, I got to make sure I'm perfect because why? This offense counts on me for my role. If I don't execute my role, this play doesn't work. So if everyone had that mentality, I mean, this offense would be so efficient, right? You talk about Bonner, you talk about Banks, you talk about Nair, all these different guys. If they just know, okay, when it's man-to-man, this offense counts on me to get open, right? But hey, what do I know, Bach? What do I know?
That's right. Well, maybe you do know a little something. That's why we got a show built around you and Mikey called The Locker Room. And we'll have more of this coming up. Final segment here coming up next year on 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you worried about storm damage causing issues with your basement? F Foundation Repair fixes basements with supreme waterproofing and exact concrete leveling for residential or commercial clients. They service wet basements, leaky walls, damp crawl spaces, bowing or cracked bricks or drywall, and more. Whether you're in Southeast Nebraska, the Tri-Cities area, or Northeast Kansas, they'll easily make the trip to you. Get a free evaluation today by visiting WeFixBasements.com or call 402-804-1024. F Foundation Repair. We fix basements.
Ever stare at the Hog Wild menu and feel like you just can't make up your mind because it all looks so good? Well, when I want a little bit of everything, I get a little bit of everything on Hog Wild Smokestack Sandwich. On a butter-toasted bun, we pile on our hickory smoked beef brisket and juicy hot links. The hard part is choosing between fresh curly fries, classic baked beans, or coleslaw on the side. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
A fall aeration by Judson Irrigation will help maintain your lawn by maximizing the effectiveness of your watering and fertilization. Judson will flag the locations of your sprinkler heads, followed by a deep core aeration to give your lawn the breath of fresh air it needs. Schedule your aeration today. Your lawn will love you for it.
Let us aerate today to ensure a healthy head start for your lawn next spring. Go to judsonirrigation.com or call Judson Bylene 402-420-6277.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
You can help fight deadly diseases like RSV and influenza while getting paid for your time. Velocity Clinical Research is now seeking clinical trial participants in your area. Participants can receive compensation for study-related time. No health insurance is needed to join. Find a study near you at velocitytrials.com. That's velocitytrials.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
This is where it happens. Long hikes with friends, kayaking adventures with family, more horseback riding, zipline gliding, rock face climbing, hammock camping fun than you could ever imagine. And it's all outdoors, amongst the trees and across the prairie, here beneath Nebraska skies. Plan an outing today at yournebraskaadventure.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You're listening to The Locker Room with Chancellor Brewington and Mikey Danielle. Brought to you by App Foundation Repair on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the locker room here on 93.7 The Ticket as we are breaking down some of the Nebraska and Colorado stats and what identifying some roles on offense. As Chancellor had talked about it, the roles are real more clear on defense. Now identifying those roles on offense. One final segment, Chancellor, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, so I want to look at defense. I mean, when you look at defense, it's interesting. So obviously, Nebraska is known for the black shirts. And it was a concept I didn't know about when I first came here. I thought everyone got black shirts. So I'm like waiting for everyone to get black shirts. And all of a sudden, there's just a defense. I'm like, okay, why not everyone? They're like, oh, well, no, I don't really know the true origins, but I just know Nebraska known for the black shirts, right? And it's the defense, right? So when I look at this team, I'm like, okay, if not Nebraska wants to be the Nebraska of old, okay, what do they have to do? They have to have everything. The success of this team has to be run through the defense, and I believe we saw that on versus Colorado. Shedeur Sanders comes in, widely regarded as top 3 quarterback in the nation, top 5, maybe number 1 in some people's eyes. I don't know how, but in my opinion, I think it's Quinn Ewers. I think he's the best quarterback in the nation right now. Week 2 doesn't really mean much. But so when you look at this defense, I'm like, okay, they got their hands full. One thing I said is going to start with the defense and it's going to end with the defense. What it started with them getting Ty starting the game off with a pass deflection, Ty getting a sack on 3rd down. Then it ended with Willis McGee's sack on 3rd down as well. So when I look at this defense, there's so many different pieces. The first piece I want to talk about is the 2 guys in the interior, and this is what makes his defense go. So when you talk about a 3-3-5, he switched to over odd front, whatever you want to call it. When you look at the penetration that's happening in the interior line with Nash, Hutchmaker, and Ty Robinson, that's what's making this defense go. And Tony White's doing such a good job of putting those guys in position to better themselves into the gifts that they have, the talents that they have, the specialties. Because Ty's a beast, man. Ty's a beast, and it looks like everything's clicking for him. A lot of people are like, when is it going to click for it? Well, it's clicking right now. It's clicking right now. Last year there were some moments. I thought he had some real dominant moments. Nash had a really dominant year, I would say. But now it looks like Ty's kind of taking this over. Week 2, media, we have to say it, right? It looks like Ty's taking over, right? Next week, Jamari could have come out with 3 sacks and Nash have 3 sacks, right? And, Ty plays a good game, but then we talk about, Nash is, this. But when I look at Ty, what he's able to do and the positions Tony White is putting him in, there's a lot of times on defense last week against Colorado, Tony White schemed up things on 3rd down that put Ty, James Williams, Prince Will, either it was Prince Will or Jamari, Nash and Ty in these one-on-one situations with the guard center tackles, right? The confidence in this D line that someone's going to make a play when we put ourselves in one-on-one situations. For example, there was a play when Ty's first sack, they went it looked like a five down front, but really they walked John Bullock over the right guard. And what they did was John Bullock took 2 steps at the right guard, right? It caused the right guard to think John Bullock was going to blitz. John Bullock backed up, and what it caused a 4-on-4 with the left tackle, left guard, center, and the right tackle, right? And it caused Ty to be one-on-one with Colorado's worst old lineman, which I said all week the center was terrible, right? One-on-one with Ty, right? Ty comes in, gets a sack, right? Okay. They do the same thing, Bach, like 2 drives later, okay? Same thing. Now John Bullock, John Bullock is on the left guard, same, right? Next to Ty is Nash, though, right? And next to Nash is James Robinson. And on the other side of to the right of John Bullock is I believe Prince Will, right? So you're expecting one of these guys have to win, right? Or else we're doomed. We're doomed because the coverage is dependent on one of these guys getting home. Nash gets home that time, right? Ty doesn't get home. Nash gets home, beats his guy. I believe Jamari comes in and cleans it up as well. What I'm saying is that this defense is formed and structured for guys on the D-line to win their one-on-ones. We saw that. And they're winning them times in the years. And that's a four-man pressure, right? It's not like we're sending a blitz right there. What's happening is we're seeing execution from the D-line room. And what can that go back to? The first thing it goes back to is coaching, right? It goes back to coaching. It goes back to Terrence Knight, what he's providing to this group. I think it's a lot of, X's and O's technicals, right? But I think what Coach Knighton is adding, just from hearing the guys and seeing how they're moving, is adding a confidence that we haven't seen in a while. You compound talent with coaching with confidence. You put all those together, and now you got a beast, right? And this is what this death row group is forming. And so when we talked about all offseason, we were talking about Tony White needs to get home with 4, right? Meaning four guys rushing the quarterback. They need to get home with 4. They need to get home with 3. All these different stuff. Well, we just talked about 2 situations where only sent 4, right? John Bullock didn't blitz, right? Only sent 4. They got home each time, right? That's the things I'm excited to see. Although Colorado's offensive line was in my opinion very poor. I think they were not very good. Just the ability to get home, in situations where you need them. That's execution. If you can execute whoever you play, you're going to win every game, right? That's what Alabama does. That's what the Ohio States, I wouldn't say that, the Michigans, right? The Clemsons of the 2016, 2017 age. These teams, what they do is you never obviously lower your standard. The standard is the same, right? So you execute whether you're playing, Northern Illinois or you're playing Illinois, right? You're always executing. And that's what this team looks like they're doing. Obviously, we only played UTEP. We've only played Colorado. Although, Colorado, some can say that's a good opponent. I don't know what they're going to do this year. I believe they're probably going to be around, 4 or 5 wins. Probably have a real tight game again against Colorado State. We'll see this week. But this is what I want to see moving forward. And this is what I'm seeing right now. It's just execution, no matter where they're playing, no matter who they're playing, no matter what's in front of them, they're executing. And I think the first real test this year is going to be this week. Is how do you respond after a big win? Do you let your standard fall off? Do the receiver rooms continue? Does the receiver room continue to have mistakes? Do they continue to not be technical in their technique, alignment? There was alignment issues. There's a lot of issues, and I'll be hard on them. Why? Because I expect great things out that room. It's not a thing where I'm hard on them with no expectation. I'm hard on them because I expect that room to be polished. Why? Because you got veterans in that room. You got IGC. You got Banks. You got Nair. You got Elliott Brown. Although he hasn't played a lot, he's been in a college room. I mean, you've been in 5 different camps, right? All these and you got a young receiver coach. I get it. Whatever. That's not going to change. You got to find a way to be better and to execute. So West, or what are we playing? Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa. My goodness. Northern Iowa this week. What I want to see is a dominant first half. I want to see Dante Dale come out and establish himself as the number 1 running back. If you feel like you are that, right? Confirm it. Confirm it with another day. I want to see the receiver room really take the initiative and take the challenge, because it looked like the Coach Rule and it looks like Coach Sat are challenging them in the media publicly. There's a challenge being pushed out there, and I want to see them respond to the challenge. And if they respond, I think this offense takes a quantum leap. I'm talking about a leap that we haven't seen. And Lincoln you thought Lincoln was rocking now. Oh, just wait till the receivers come in and play ball the way they're supposed to.
Excellent breakdown there. We did offense and defense. I feel a lot better about the team after this hour. So thanks for breaking that down, Chancellor. That'll wrap it up for the locker room today. We will be back tomorrow, but on the block with Austin and Strick coming up next.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person.